Good morning, everyone. This is Robert Rivera, and this is the meeting of the Texas Lottery Commission called to order. Today is February the 11th at 10 a.m. First, we will do a roll call for our lottery commissioners. Commissioner Fields.
Here.
Commissioner Sines. Commissioner Franz.
Here.
Commissioner Steen.
Here.
We'll go again. Eric, Commissioner Sines. Okay, we do have a quorum, so we are moving forward. This meeting is being conducted on Zoom pursuant to Governor Abbott's temporary suspension of certain open meeting laws during the COVID-19 disaster declaration. For the benefit of the audience and our court reporter, we ask everyone to state their name before they speak. For those of you who did not join our commission meeting last week, we have a new acting bingo director, Tyler Vance. Tyler, we are glad that you are with us in your new position. So the first item is our annual financial audit. Kathy, this is your item.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Kathy Pica, Controller for the agency. With me this morning is Kevin Sanford, the engagement partner from the firm Weaver and Tidwell, who performed our required annual financial audit. Kevin, I will allow you to proceed with an overview of our audited results.
Thank you, Kathy. And Kevin Sanford, a partner with the external audit firm of Weaver and Tidwell. Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you for having me here today. It's my pleasure to be here to present the results of our audit of the Texas Lottery Commission's financial statements for the year ended August 31st, 2020. I believe you all have an electronic copy of the document and possibly a printed copy, so I'll refer to a few page numbers out of each as I have my prepared comments. And I'm intentionally keeping these brief in the interest of time, as well as to allow some time if you do have any detailed questions to have those presented. Feel free to interrupt me though during comments. No need to wait till to the end if you do have something that you'd like me to go into more detail on as I go through the document. So I'll start with our opinion on the Commission's financial statements, which is on printed page 4 or PDF page 6 of the document. Our report this year, once again, actually at the top of the next page, page 5 or page 7, is an unmodified or a clean opinion. That is the highest level of assurance that independent auditors can give to a set of financial statements, and it states that in all material aspects, the Commission's financial statements are materially correct. The main financial statement for the Lottery Commission is on page 31 of the PDF or page 29 in the printed document. And this is the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position for the lottery fund. And starting at the top of that page, the ticket sales for the year ended August 31st, 2020 were just over $6.7 billion, which is a 7.2% increase from the prior year, about $6,250 million. The total operating expenses were $6,714 million, of which about 2/3, almost exactly 2/3 of that represents prizes from the ticket sales, $4,442 million, as well as $1,683 million transfers to other state agencies, primarily the Foundation School Fund, which is $1.66 billion of that $1.68 billion. So the operating loss for the year was just under $8.7 million, which was offset by an increase in fair value of the Commission's investments of about $11.77 million. So the change in net position was a positive change of $3,083,000 for the year ended again August 31st, 2020. Behind that is the cash flows for the lottery fund, as well as the footnotes for the year. There's quite a bit more detail and supporting information in those footnotes that support the balances in the financial statements. I was not going to go through those in detail. They're largely the same as the prior year. There were no material new accounting and auditing pronouncements that impacted the Commission's financial statements for the year, so it's largely just updating the balances for the current year activity. And then the final item that I was going to highlight in our report is our opinion under government auditing standards. Of course, the lottery is as a state agency of the state of Texas. We have to conduct our audit in accordance with government auditing standards issued by the Comptroller General of the United States, which requires us to do some testing of internal controls over financial reporting, as well as other key items for compliance and other matters. And in accordance with government auditing standards, if we do have any deficiencies in internal control that rise to either be a significant deficiency or a material weakness, or we have any material compliance findings in our testing, we are required to report those in this report and bring them to your attention. Very happy to report that we did not have either of those. So no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal controls, as well as no compliance findings in our testing. So that report also is a clean report. And the final item I'll say is, I believe you also have an electronic copy of what's known as the governance letter. In accordance with audit standards, we are required to communicate certain items to you as the Commission, as the body responsible for the oversight of our audit. And I'm happy to report in there that there's nothing other than really the standard audit communications in there. So again, I wasn't going to go through those in detail. I would certainly point out if there was anything out of the ordinary in that letter, and there's not in this current year. So with that, that concludes my kind of prepared comments, but if there's any other items you would like me to go through in more detail or have any questions, I'm happy to take those at this time.
Okay, Kevin, thank you for your detailed report. Commissioners, any discussion? Okay, great job, Kevin. Thank you again so much. Next item is a report from the Bingo Advisory Committee. Trey Smith will present.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Kim Rogers. Mr. Smith was not able to join today. I am the Vice Chair for the BAC. The BAC met on January 21st via Zoom. It was a short meeting. We approved our minutes. Mr. Hansen and Tyler Vance let us know in reference to the last commissioners meeting, everything went well. Mr. Vance let the members know in reference to his draft for the gift card ideas. We have been working alongside Mr. Vance to improve the language so it will not, so that it can go through with the Kickapoo's approval of our language. Also, Ms. Green discussed temporaries on demand. This is something that staff has been working with Ms. Green and her work group on, and this will really help the industry be able to have extra sessions when we are busy. Tom Hansen let us know that it is in the works, and that should come quickly this year. We discussed that there was no BAC positions open at this time. Mr. Hansen let us know in reference to the illegal gambling that has been taking place on Facebook, how we can assist in the industry to report that to staff. So hopefully something can be done to get that stopped. Mr. Hansen also presented the numbers for the bingo industry that took place during COVID-19. As expected, they're down pretty bad. We had one public member speak, Mr. Vernon. He was just there to back that up and let us know that they started with 9 halls prior to the pandemic. They are down to 8 now. They had to shut one down. Our next BAC meeting will be held via Zoom on March 25th at 10 a.m. Everything went wonderful. I would be happy to answer any questions if you all have some.
Thank you for your report, Commissioners. Are there any discussion? Okay. Before we move on, Commissioner Fields, I was going to see if you'd like to make any comments here.
Actually, I was not able to sit in on the BAC meeting, so I really don't have any comments.
Okay, just as the bingo commissioner, I want to make sure that you are able to just anything at all. So, okay, sounds good. Next item is a report on amendments to the scratch ticket contracts. Mike Fernandez, this is your item.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Mike Fernandez, and I'm the Director of Administration. Item number 4 in your notebook is a briefing item to advise the Commission of staff's intent to amend our 3 scratch ticket printing contracts with Scientific Games International, IGT Global Solutions, and Pollard Banknote. The purpose of these amendments is to modify their respective price sheets to include additional add-on features, product quantities, and ticket sizes. Commissioners have independently confirmed they do not have any financial interest in any of the noted vendors. If you have any questions.
Okay, commissioners, any discussion?
Commissioners, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, Mike, good job. The next item is still yours. Report on amendment to lottery operator contract.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the record, my name is Mike Fernandez. I'm the Director of Administration. Item 5 in your notebook is a briefing item and is to advise the Commission of Staff's intent to amend our current lottery operations and services contract with IGT Global Solutions. The purpose of this amendment is to further clarify certain contract provisions based on current business practices and audit recommendations. Additionally, the Texas Lottery is seeking to take advantage of technology innovations that could potentially increase revenue to the state of Texas in consideration for agreeing to modify the frequency of retailer sales visits made by IGT Lottery sales representatives and the number of required sales representatives. Commissioners have each independently confirmed they do not have any financial interest in IGT Global Solutions Corporation. If you have any questions, Commissioners, I'd be happy to answer them. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
And Commissioners, excuse me, this is Bob Beard, General Counsel. If I may just interject briefly, whenever the Commission takes up negotiation of the lottery operator contract, you have the opportunity under the government code to discuss the negotiation in executive session. Mr. Fernandez can correct me, but it is my understanding he does not recommend executive session today. Is that correct, Mike?
That's correct, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, I just wanted you to be aware you always have that option. Thanks.
Okay, Bob, thank you. And Mike as well. Commissioners, any discussion? Okay, number 6, next item is adoption of lottery rule amendments. Kyle, this is your item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. For the record, I'm Kyle Wolf, Assistant General Counsel. Item 6 in your notebooks contains a proposal to adopt amendments to 3 rules. Rule 401.305, the Lotto Texas Draw Game Rule, Rule 401.312, the Texas Two-Step Draw Game Rule, and Rule 401.317, the Powerball Draw Game Rule. As presented at the last meeting, the purpose of these proposed amendments is to provide the Commission greater flexibility to coordinate the draw dates and the times for its jackpot draw games to maximize potential revenue to the state. Specifically, the proposed amendments to the Lotto Texas Draw Game Rule and the Texas Two-Step Draw Game Rule provides the drawings for those games will occur on the days and times specified by the Commission's Executive Director. And likewise, the amendment for the Powerball Draw Game Rule provides that Powerball drawings will occur on the days specified by the Multi-State Lottery Association Powerball Group and announced by the Commission's Executive Director. We did receive 2 written comments on the proposed amendments. The first commenter opposed an additional Powerball drawing per week, and the other commenter opposed the amendments without giving a specific reason. In response to those comments, staff does not recommend any changes to the amendments. And to conclude, staff does recommend that the Commission adopt the proposed amendments. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioners, any discussion? Okay, is then there a motion to adopt the rule amendments?
This is Eric. I make a motion.
Awesome. Okay, is there a second?
This is Jamie. I'll second.
Perfect. All in favor say aye.
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 All righty, passes unanimously. Good job, everyone. Kyle, thank you. Next item is a report on lottery sales and revenue. We have Robert and Kathy. This is your item.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Kathy Pica, Controller for the agency. With me presenting this morning is the Commission's Products Manager, Robert Trelawney. Our presentation this morning will begin with the data on slide 2.
Bill, if you could move that to slide 2.
Thank you. Comparative data through the week ending February 6, 2021 are presented at the bottom of the slide. Total fiscal year 2021 sales through this 23-week period are $3,424,000,000, which is an increase of $709 million or 26% over the $2,716,000,000 in sales for the same period last fiscal year. Fiscal year 2021 scratch ticket sales reflected on the second orange bar are $6,683,000,000, a $473 million increase over the sales figure for fiscal year 2020. With a growth rate of 21% over last fiscal year, the Commission has continued to report double-digit increases in scratch ticket sales over fiscal year 2020 sales. Scratch ticket sales amount to 78.3% of total sales through this period as compared to 81.4% last fiscal year. Fiscal year 2021 draw sales reflected on the second blue bar are $741.8 million, which is an increase of $235.5 million over last fiscal year. Commissioners, this is a 46.5% increase. Since our last meeting 10 weeks ago, there have been numerous new sales records established that I'd like to share with you this morning. First, during January, a new all-time record was set for total monthly sales with sales of $861 million for the month. This broke the old record of $670 million, which was set in October of 2018, when we had dueling multi-state jackpots of $1.6 billion and $750 million. There was also a new record set for total weekly sales, which was set in January with sales of $227.8 million for the week ending January 23rd. This broke the former record amount of $215.3 million that was attained in January of 2016, when we had a $1.6 billion Powerball jackpot. Finally, last week, we set a new record for total weekly scratch ticket sales with a weekly amount of $136.6 million. In fact, over the last month, we have now had 4 weeks of scratch ticket sales that have exceeded $130 million. Robert will now provide an overview of detailed sales as outlined on slide 3.
Thank you, Kathy. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Robert Trelawney, Products Manager for the Commission. So on this next slide, we'll break down where the $708 million gain in 21 compared to 20 is coming from. If we move to the top of the slide, the white font, that's the jackpot portion of the draw game portfolio. And you'll see we have a $208 million gain. The bulk of that is coming from our 2 multi-state games, Mega Millions and Powerball. So since we last met in December, Mega Millions rolled up to a $1 billion jackpot for the drawing on January 22nd. That is the third largest jackpot in US lottery history. And that was the second highest Mega Millions jackpot ever. And Powerball was simultaneously rolling up to a large jackpot. It reached a jackpot of $730 million for the drawing on January 20th. So that Powerball jackpot was the sixth largest jackpot in US lottery history and the fourth largest Powerball jackpot. So those large jackpots obviously resulted in some very good sales for both games. And you can see for Mega Millions and its add-on games, that is resulting in a $114.5 million year-over-year gain. And for Powerball and Power Play, that's resulting in an almost $70 million year-over-year gain. So great results, obviously, from those very large jackpot runs. Good news also for our Lotto Texas game. Lotto Texas and its add-on feature are up almost $25 million. You may recall that back in September, Lotto Texas rolled up to a $47 million jackpot. So that may seem small compared to $1 billion or $730 million, but that is really a significant jackpot amount for our in-state games. So that helped contribute to those positive results that we're seeing for Lotto. Moving down into the middle of the slide, the blue font are our daily games. Again, we're seeing very good growth. The daily games are up $27 million, with the bulk of that gain coming from the Pick 3 and Fireball feature for Pick 3. That game is up over $17 million. So we're very pleased to see this growth across all of our daily games. So our draw games are up $235.5 million thus far. And as Kathy mentioned, we continue to have stellar scratch ticket sales this fiscal year. Our scratch ticket sales are totaling almost $2.7 billion. And that is a $473 million gain compared to last year. Commissioners, before COVID, I would provide you with some scratch ticket samples at our commission meetings. And obviously, I've not been able to do that for the past 10 months. But I thought it might be nice to close out today by giving you all the opportunity to see some of the scratch games that are actually driving these very strong sales. So I'm going to ask if we could advance 2 slides. Thank you. So I'm going to show you the top 10 selling games for the week that just ended this past Saturday, February 6th. So our number 1 selling game is a $50 game, $5 million fortune. That game started on January 18th. The next 3 games that you see are from our Lotteria family. This is a very important family for us. It's a core offering, meaning all of these games are out at all times throughout the entire year. They're color pulsed, meaning we change the colors when we print them. We make slight tweaks, but this family is a core offering for us. The $50 is a new price point in the Lotteria family, and that started back in October. The 100X, the cash game that you see to the far right, is part of our new multiplier family that started on January 4th. If we can advance to the next slide. 200X, the cash, is a $20 game. That's from that same multiplier family that started in January. And then we have a couple of more core games. Our $10 cash word game is a top performer. It usually ends up in the top 10 or top 15 games every fiscal year. That's, delivers consistent sales for us week after week, year after year. And then you'll see our $5 Lotteria game. So I talked about the first 3 Lotteria games on the previous slide. Lotteria, that family, is a game that we have very carefully grown over time. We started that as a $3 price point, moved to $5, and gradually over time introduced the 10, the 20, and then, as I mentioned most recently, this past fall, introduced the 50, and it's a great success story for us. And then the last 2 in the top 10, another 50, our $200 million cash game. And then a game that I'm quite happy and excited about is our brand new $20 crossword game. This game only started on February 1st, and in its first week, it's already made it into the top 10. That's exciting because our hope is to make this a core product offering that's available to our players at all times. So it's good news that it has, as I said, seen such stellar results in its first week, and it's already in the top 10. So these 10 games that I just showed you represent $66 million in sales last week. So I just thought it would be helpful for you to see these on screen, since you can't get physical samples at this point in time. And that concludes our sales presentation, but Kathy or myself are available for any questions that you may have.
Okay, Kathy and Robert, thank you so much. Your presentation, your insight, always super valuable, and also grateful for your showing us what the games are looking like. And you are correct that we are missing the ability to physically touch and look at the tickets, but this is a really good substitute for the variables that are now in place. Commissioners, any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Good job again, Kathy and Robert, on that item. Item number 8, still with Kathy, report on transfers to the state and the agency's budget.
Again, good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Kathy Pica, Controller for the Lottery Commission. Tab 8 does include information on the agency's transfers to the state and the agency's budget status. While the report in your notebook reflects accrued revenue transfers and the allocations to the Foundation School Fund, as well as the Texas Veterans Commission, and the allocation of unclaimed prizes for the 4-month period ending December 31st, 2020, we have recently completed the January revenue transfer, so I'd like to provide you an updated status on revenue transfers to the state. Our total accrued revenue transfers to the state now amount to $706.1 million for the first 5 months of fiscal year 2021. Of the $706.1 million transfer to the state, $688.4 million was the amount of revenue transferred to the Foundation School Fund, and $8.4 million was the amount transferred to the Texas Veterans Commission, with the remaining $9.3 million transferred from unclaimed lottery prizes. This leaves us with a 26.9% or $147.6 million increase over revenue to the Foundation School Fund for the same period last fiscal year. Commissioners, with the amazing sales that we had in January, Our revenue transfer was just shy of $200 million. To put that into perspective, the average revenue transfer for the first 4 months of the fiscal year transfers were $124 million. This brings our total cumulative revenue to the Foundation School Fund through January of this year at $26.4 billion. Also included in your notebook is the agency's fiscal year 2021 method of finance summary for the first quarter ending November 30th of 2020. The Commission's lottery account budget for fiscal year 2021 is just under $253 million. Of this amount, 77% was expended and encumbered through the end of the first quarter. Our bingo budget, which is funded by general revenue, is $2.2 million, with 89% expended and encumbered through the end of the first quarter. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, commissioners, any questions?
Thank
Okay.
you, commissioners.
Good job, Kathy. Number 9, next item, report on legislative session. Nelda and Kathy, your item.
Good morning, commissioners. For the record, I'm Nelda Trevino, Director of Governmental Affairs. I'm going to provide a very brief report regarding some of the legislation that has been filed this session, and Kathy will provide a report as it relates to Senate Bill 1, the General Appropriations Act, and the agency's legislative appropriations request. As you know, the 87th legislature convened its regular session on January the 12th. In your commission meeting documents, we included a copy of the agency's legislative bill tracking report. Many of the bills the agency tracks and monitors covers a variety of subjects. These measures could relate to subjects regarding open meetings of governmental bodies, open records and the Public Information Act, state purchasing and contracting, and matters related to human resources and state employee benefits. Today, I want to highlight those bills that have been filed that are specifically related to the administration of the lottery or the regulation of charitable bingo. These include House Bill 394 by Representative Joe Moody. This bill relates to the Lottery Commission's rules on lottery game drawings. This bill authorizes the commission to conduct game drawings on a Sunday. House Bill 817, also by Representative Joe Moody, relates to the operation of a quick draw lottery game. This bill allows the sale of a quick draw lottery game, commonly known in the lottery industry as a Keno game, at bars and restaurants. HJR 35 by Richard Raymond. This joint resolution would amend the Constitution to dedicate lottery proceeds to fund public education and would prohibit any advertising that would promote the purchase of tickets for the purpose of supporting education. As of today, there have been no bills filed related to the regulation of charitable bingo. However, based on communications with industry representatives, it is anticipated there will be legislation filed. Lastly, Senate Bill 1 by Senator Jane Nelson, the General Appropriations Act, and commonly known as the state budget, includes the funding for the Lottery Commission for the upcoming biennium. The agency has provided requested information regarding the agency's budget requests to both the Senate Finance Committee and to the House Appropriations Committee. I will now turn it over to Kathy to provide a report on the budget recommendations contained in the House and Senate versions of the appropriations bills and on the agency's budget request. And I'll be glad to answer any questions at the conclusion of Kathy's remarks.
Thank you, Nelda. Commissioners, similar to the last legislative session, the Legislative Budget Board introduced budget bills for the Senate and the House, which reflect different amounts. In summary, the Senate version of the bill includes a $15.9 million reduction to the strategy for promoting lottery games within the lottery dedicated account, while the House version of the bill is fully funded at our baseline budget level. The bingo program, funded by general revenue, is fully funded at the baseline level in both bill versions. In preparation for budget hearings before Senate Finance and House Appropriations, the Legislative Budget Board requested the agency provide feedback on all unfunded items and those that the Commission would like to pursue as exceptional item requests. Our legislative appropriations request remains unchanged, with the Commission requesting one exceptional item in the amount of $4.4 million for full restoration of the retailer bonus program. Other items included in our request for the lottery dedicated account is a new rider to appropriate funds to promote lottery games as a percentage of lottery ticket sales with a not to exceed amount of $40 million in each year of the biennium. We've also requested a new rider to provide unexpended balance authority of capital budget for the construction of 1801 Congress. This concludes my presentation, and Nelda and I would both be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you both, Nelda and Kathy. Commissioners, any discussion? Okay, thank you both for all the work that you're doing. I know that there is definitely, we all know that there's a lot going on with session as it is really in full swing. So thank you both for your efforts, and we look forward to continued progress. Item 10 is a report from our auditor, Darlene. This is your item.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Darlene Brown, and I'm the internal auditor for the agency. In your materials is a summary of our internal audit activities for the period. From these materials, I will discuss 3 items: the revised 2021 annual internal audit plan, the charitable bingo operations division ledger account reconciliation project, and the CAPS payroll process audit report. The first item is the revised fiscal year 2021 annual internal audit plan. This will require your consideration for action. We have revised the audit plan based upon the need to conduct the charitable bingo operations division ledger account reconciliation project. However, from the audit plan, we have completed 5 of the audits. We can intend to move 6 of the audits to fiscal year 2022 and then complete the reconciliation project. But if the hours that we anticipated for the reconciliation project are not as much as we anticipated, we will proceed with completing some of the audits that we're going to move to 2022. That is our proposed internal audit plan revision. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'm requesting that you approve the plan.
Okay, before we take a vote, Commissioners, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to adopt?
This is Cindy. Move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, sounded like everybody said aye. There were definitely no nays, but we have 100%. So thank you, Commissioners, for the vote. And Darlene, as always, thank you for your continued efforts, keeping everything in line. Number 11.
I still have a couple items, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The next is just a quick overview of the charitable bingo operations division ledger account reconciliation project.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking at 4,981 accounts. We began the project this approximately second week of January, and as of last night, we've completed 125 of those reviews. They're going to move along quite quickly now that we have a process in place. The last item I have for you today is the CAPS payroll audit report. And I'm happy to report that this audit resulted in best practices for the agency with effective internal controls. The agency implemented a new time and payroll system on July 13th, 2020. And so we looked at the internal controls and the revised processes to make sure there were not any weaknesses. I have to tell you that an undertaking of this nature requires a lot of time and effort, and we would like to recognize their staff for the diligence in making sure that the appropriate internal controls were in place. That's the end of my reports for today. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Okay, Darlene, thank you. Any questions from commissioners? Okay, again, Darlene, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I'm sorry, did someone say something? Okay, next is item number 11, our bingo director's report. Tyler, you're up.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. This is Tyler Vance. I'm the Acting Director of the Charitable Bingo Operations Division as of last Wednesday. And I'd like to report that since my appointment, I have been meeting with Commissioner Fields, with Darlene, the Lottery Directors Group, and bingo staff members to help me get a better grasp of what's going on in the division and how we can best move forward with it. On Monday, the audit group brought in a new employee, Mark Daney, so we welcome him. We're also very close to making a job offer in the compliance division. The accounting team is in the process of revising a job posting, and we'll get that person in as soon as we can. I have no other items for you this morning, but I want to thank you for your confidence in me. I want to thank all the staff, Commissioner Fields, and everyone else who's helping me through this transition. And I'm available for any questions.
All righty, Tyler, thank you again for stepping up. Your commitment to not only bingo, but to lottery is definitely noticed and greatly appreciated. For those who were not on the call last week, a change was made, needed to be made, and we are glad that Tyler has stepped in and moving bingo forward. Cindy, do you have any comments?
Yes, again, I'd just really like to thank Tyler for stepping up and doing what he's doing. It's not an easy job, but he's hit the ground running. So thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any further discussion on this item? And before we leave the bingo item, we are continuing to move forward on the new hiring process. And so I understand that communication will continue as we move forward. And so as there are any questions or anything that needs to be communicated, Cindy is more than happy to help coordinate, answer questions. She is literally available at all hours and is incredibly hardworking and earnest in her bingo efforts. So Cindy, thank you for also assisting with this important responsibility.
Sure, and I think the position was posted yesterday or possibly today.
Yes, Commissioner, this is Bob Beard. It has been posted and it is up on our website right now. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you all. Next item is our esteemed executive director's report. Gary, this is your item.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I first wanted to just make sure that you can hear me okay.
Yes, everyone.
Very good. Other than what's in your notebooks this morning, I just wanted to add a few supplementary comments regarding lottery sales and revenue to the presentation that you heard from Robert and Kathy this morning, with a particular focus on what's just occurred in the month of January, which is you heard today was the most successful month in the history of the Texas Lottery. Our scratch ticket sales have now risen to levels that we've never seen before. In fact, our top 3 all-time record weeks of scratch ticket sales all occurred in the month of January, with the new all-time record of 133.5 million in sales occurring the week of January 9th. And as you heard, we just topped that record in the first week of February. We have a friendly, ongoing rivalry with the Florida and the California lotteries for the title of the best scratch ticket lottery sales in the country. And I'm really proud to say that for the last 4 full weeks of sales, Texas has been averaging more than $131 million a week, and that places us #1 in the country over that period of time. Commissioners, there's several reasons why the Texas Lottery is one of the top sellers of scratch tickets in the country and in the world. We do several things differently than other lotteries in this regard, and the results speak for themselves. We are the only U.S. lottery that uses all 3 of the vendors capable of printing scratch tickets in a meaningful way. That is, we ask each of them to print roughly 1/3 of our scratch ticket products. And then we ask them to compete every day for our business with the very best products and the latest innovations that they can provide us. We also print more games at more varied price points and styles than any other lottery, all in an effort to constantly have something in the market that appeals to everyone. We've also been the early adopter of higher price point scratch ticket games, particularly at the $20, $30, and $50 price points, having recognized early on from our players a strong desire for those price points, both for convenience of purchase and better overall odds of winning with the higher price points. And finally, commissioners, we plan for this success. Our annual game plans are plotted out months in advance. Nothing's left to chance. Every individual game and launch date is carefully and strategically executed, and we build in all types of levers that we can pull throughout the year to modify that game plan as the market dictates to us. To complement these strong scratch tickets that we've got in our portfolio, our draw sales have also been extraordinary as of late. As you've heard from Kathy and Robert, after many months of low jackpots and weak sales, both the Mega Millions and Powerball jackpots rolled and rolled and rolled until Powerball reached 731 million and Mega Millions reached 1 billion. So where we typically do around $21 million a week in draw sales, when jackpots are at their starting and lower levels, the last 3 weeks of the big rolls in January, we did 57 million, 88 million, and finally $98 million. That last week being almost 5 times our normal weekly sales for all draw games. And not to be lost in the discussion, I hope you picked up today in the presentation, we continue to see very strong sales growth for the Pick 3 and Daily 4 games. So these last few weeks, commissioners, have now positioned us more than $700 million ahead of last year's record-setting sales pace. But we are far from satisfied. I've set an internal goal of breaking last year's all-time sales record by $1 billion by the time the fiscal year ends in August, meaning we need to reach total sales of $7.7 billion by year's end to reach that goal. It's very ambitious, but it's one that our entire team has embraced and is focused on. I've asked every staff member to ask themselves what they can do each day to help us reach that goal and continue to generate critical revenue for both education and veteran services in our state. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Gary, thank you for your detailed report. Clearly, we are moving in a positive direction. Your leadership, the leadership of our executive team, going down all the way to the newest hire that has come on board, and everybody in between, regardless of how many years you've been here, you're all part of the success that we have achieved as a organization with again, just challenges daily. Every day it seems like there's something that comes up that has to be overcome, but as those challenges arise, they are definitely met and serve as building blocks to move forward with. And so these are ambitious goals that are set, but the entire body of commissioners are in full support of the direction of the lottery, and Gary, your leadership just remains constant and strong, and we are very grateful and just happy that you're at the helm. So thank you. Commissioners, any comments or questions? Okay, Gary, again, thank you. We are very pleased. Next item, number 13, enforcement cases. Bob Baird, your item.
Thank you, Chairman. For the record, I'm Bob Beard, General Counsel. Item 13 contains 5 lottery and bingo enforcement matters, tabs A through E. In these cases, Commission staff found the licensee violated a statute or rule. In many of our cases, either the respondent fails to appear at a hearing and it proceeds by default, or the staff and the respondent reach a settlement in the form of an agreed order. Occasionally, we have litigated cases, and we do have one of those today. Tab A is a non-sufficient fund lottery retailer license revocation. This case was presented at the State Office of Administrative Hearings for revocation of the retailer's license because the licensee failed to have sufficient funds in their bank account to cover electronic fund transfers to the Commission's account. The licensee failed to appear at the hearing, and the judge remanded the case to the Commission to handle as a default matter. Tab B is a lottery, a litigated owner purchase case, and the judge here recommended a 90-day suspension, which we recommend that you approve. Tabs C, D, and E are all bingo agreed orders involving charity conductor units and their lessors. The materials for these cases are all in your notebooks. That concludes my presentation. You may take up the enforcement orders in a single vote if you like. And of course, I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Okay, Bob, thank you. Commissioners, any discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the orders?
Here's Jamie, I'll make a motion.
Tabs A through E. Jamie, thank you. Is there a second?
Mark, I'll second.
Thank you, sir. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, 100%. Good job. Good job, Bob. Thank you, commissioners. There is no public comment, and there is no reason to go into executive session unless any of the commissioners would like to do so. Okay, no executive session. So before we conclude the meeting, commissioners, is there any item that any of y'all would like to touch on? Okay, so hearing none, again, grateful to, on behalf of all the commissioners, grateful to all of our staff, grateful to everyone who helped make this meeting efficient. Very grateful for that. Definitely appreciate all the work that is being done behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, just daily. Everybody comes to work with the mission and goal of helping to improve lottery and bingo for Texas. So with that, this meeting is, I need to have a motion for adjournment. So I need to hear that, and then we can vote on that and we will be concluded. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, this is Mark. I'll move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All righty. Everybody have a wonderful day, and we'll
Thank you,
talk to you all soon. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, commissioners.